We're standing here at the northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee that's off to my left, right in front of the church. It's called Mensa Christi, which is named after the table of our Lord. It was right here in this general area that the disciples experienced what's written in John 21. It says in John 21 that Jesus was restoring Peter. If you remember when we were at Gallicantu in Jerusalem, Peter had denied Christ 3 times. And after that third denial, Jesus turned and looked at Peter, deeply wounding him with a reminder, a painful reminder, that Jesus had warned him that he was going to deny him. Jesus had prepared him, and yet Peter still fell right into the time of temptation and denial. And so Peter grieved deeply over that and always felt there was something that would hinder him from ministry. So Jesus brought him right here to, in a threefold way, restore him. This is what it says in John 21. Simon Peter and Thomas called the twin and Nathanael of Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 others were together. And Simon Peter said to them, "I'm going fishing." Now right off in this part of the Sea of Galilee are 7 warm springs that emanate from the bottom of the lake. And this corner is known as the fishing hole. Because of the warmth, the nutrients are more rich in this corner. And so all good fishermen would make a pass by this corner to kind of make sure they had a full net as they went home. So Peter went to that northwest corner where we are now. And it says here that he fished all night in his favorite fishing spot, and his nets came up empty. There's something about when we need to be restored by the Lord, that there's an emptiness in our life. Even the old things that always used to work don't work anymore. And Peter was experiencing that emptiness when all of a sudden, as the light began to dawn after fishing all night long, he looked off in the distance and nudges John, who's next to him in the boat, and he says, "Who's that on the shore?" And right here on this shore, there was a fire, and a figure could be seen in the darkness. And it says, as the morning was not yet present, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples couldn't tell it was Jesus. And then verse 5 says, Jesus called out to them because they were about 300 feet out into the water. And Jesus said, "Do you have any food?" And they said, "No." And then Jesus said these words, "Cast your net on the right side, you will find some fish." So they cast because they were not able to draw it in because of the multitude of fish. As soon as they responded to Christ, what they couldn't do all night long, instantly the fish swarmed their nets. What that was telling Peter was that when he did everything his own way, it just wasn't sufficient. But when he responded to Christ, he could find fullness, even overflowing. Well, as they saw it, they came to the land and saw a fire of coals there and fish laid on it and bread. And Jesus said, "Bring some of the fish." And they brought the fish, and Jesus said, "Come and eat breakfast." Now what's interesting is they were by a fire in the dark watching Jesus, and it brought back the memory to Peter. He had been by a fire watching Jesus the night he denied him. And that same scene was playing out in front of him. And so Jesus said to him, "Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me?" Then he said to him a second time in verse 16, "Do you love me?" And then a third time in verse 17, "Do you love me?" And Peter that third time said, "Most assuredly I say unto you, I love you." Peter was grieved, but he realized that Jesus was giving him 3 opportunities to respond, and he did. And he said, "Lord, you know I love you." And Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep," which was a recalling to the wonderful ministry of being a shepherd. This is the spot we remember Jesus is the one that offers us an endless series of new beginnings. No one denied Jesus more completely, more forcefully, and more directly than Peter. And no one failed more miserably than the man who knew Jesus face to face and was always at his side. And yet he sinned so greatly. Peter becomes an example for us that Jesus offers a new beginning, a fresh new start. An endless series of new beginnings that we can know that he loves us, that he's forgiven us, that he's restored us. Right here at Mensa Christi, right here on the northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee, right here in John 21, we know the God of new beginnings, and we know that Jesus Christ is the one who can give us a new beginning.